What's up, guys? Welcome to Making Houston Home. My name is Rene. I appreciate y'all for joining me. Today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to go into a deep dive into Humble, Texas, because it is a big place and there are a lot of little cities within Humble, and it gets really confusing when you start looking at addresses around here. Some addresses will say Humble, some will say Houston. There's also Atascocita in there, a little bit of Kingwood. It's really confusing. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be pulling up a map here in a minute so you can get a aerial view of what the city looks like, and then every little subdivision that's within Humble. So this is actually the beginning of a series that I'm doing as well. That's why I'm doing this. I've already recorded a ton of content of homes in Humble, and while I was doing that, I was like, man, this might get confusing for people, so let me start off with this map tour. So if you're coming across this, you may have already seen some of those videos. If not, I'm putting this out first, so go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to see these homes in Humble going forward. That bell's going to make sure that you're notified when my videos come out. Here over the next few weeks, month or two, we're doing a big Humble, Northeast Houston, Kingwood, which is where I live. So I love this area. So just really deep dive into this area over the next few weeks, couple months actually. So with all that said, if you want kind of a deep dive also, or kind of a more intimate idea of what it's like actually living here, as I mentioned, I live in Kingwood, which is just kind of Kingwood, Atascocita, the Groves, Balmoral. All these places are sort of right there in the same area, which you'll see in this map once I pull it up. But like I said, follow me on Instagram for more of an idea of what the day-to-day life is living here. It's I am Rene Lara. That's my handle. My kids are 5 and 6 years old. They go to school here. Their activities are all here. My wife, she works here too in Atascocita. Actually, she's a hairstylist. So quick plug for her. If you're thinking about moving out here and you need a hairstylist, my wife's got your back. Anyway, follow me on Instagram. You can see her on there too. Just kind of everything we do, what we love about living here, sort of our day-to-day. We go on trips, we take the kids downtown, we go to baseball games, we do all the stuff, right? So it just gives you a good idea, a good feel for what it's like for people that moved here from California, and what we do here. So, let's go ahead and jump into this video. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. You can reach out to me directly. That number below is my direct line. So, let's get to it. This is a map tour of Humble, Texas. Let's get to it right now. All right, guys, so here we are. This is obviously an aerial view of Houston, Texas, right? So again, Houston is massive. If you've seen any of my other map tours, just to give you an idea, me being from LA, Orange County, San Diego area, this is the best way I can explain it if you're watching it from there. So here's downtown Houston, right? Galveston right here is about 48 miles, 47 miles from downtown. If you're thinking about LA to probably one of the furthest cities out, about Corona area, that's about the same distance. So if you think driving from LA out to Corona and then having a full 360 degrees around Los Angeles, right? So you're talking about going out into the ocean, over Catalina, halfway down to San Diego. That's the footprint of Houston. Massive, massive city, right? So I always like to point that out, because when you're thinking about moving here, where you work is really important to where you want to live, because you can look at this map right now and see, okay, these homes right here, this is Humble that I pulled up because that's what we're going to be talking about. But getting here to Sugarland, that's a long, long drive. And getting from, say, Sugarland over here to Baytown, which is where I used to work, that's a long, long drive, right? So keep that in mind, that Houston is a massive footprint. It's a massive city, right? So, here we go. We'll jump into the Humble, Texas portion. Obviously, we're right up here, Northeast Houston. If you're thinking about Houston, one cool thing, when I first moved here, I met a guy at a bar, and he told me this, and I always kept it in my mind. He said, when you're looking at Houston, think of it as a clock, because everything is in circles. There's these loops here, these freeways, and so it's when you're thinking about a certain city, I like to say, you know, this Humble Kingwood area, we're about 1 o'clock right here. Obviously, you know, the Woodlands is straight up here, that would be about 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, and so on, all the way around the city. So really cool little tidbit I got from that random dude at a bar one night. But, you know, here we go, jumping into Humble. I already have this map set up. These are just homes in this area. You can kind of ignore all of that. I just wanted you to see how many homes in this area have the address of Humble. So Humble is really right here. This is kind of Humble proper, as you can see where this yellowish color is. But then you look at it and you're like, well, wait a second, why is all this other stuff considered Humble as well? You have Atascocita right here. This little portion of Atascocita just in this section is still kind of considered Kingwood, which is just right up here. Then you also have, you know, you have the Groves down here, you have Balmoral, you have Summerwood, you have a ton of stuff in this area. Even all the way over here on the other side of the 69 freeway is considered Humble as well. So, you know, as I was kind of making these home tours going through Humble, I thought this would be a great idea to help y'all really understand where these places are, right? So the first place I like to start with, just because I'm from up here in Kingwood, this is actually where I live in Sand Creek right here. One of the coolest places that I like that's Humble is right here in Kings River. As you can see, you know, pretty well priced homes in here, not super crazy. The cool thing about like Kings River, these are actually zoned to Kingwood schools, which are some of the best schools in Houston. And then you can also see, you know, you got the Kingwood golf courses here. You got this is actually golf courses here in Atascocita Golf Club. A really cool area. One of my videos coming out has some homes here in Kings River. You know, moving down here also, obviously you have Atascocita. If that's a name or a city you've heard of, remember, if you start to pull up homes in that area, a lot of them are going to have an Humble address. So that's what I mean. It gets a little confusing. So having this map really helps you out. You know, another notable area in Humble, Atascocita is Eagle Springs. So I'm going to have a video also with homes in Eagle Springs. I have friends that live in Eagle Springs. It's a really cool, yeah, a lot of young families there. Really cool area. They have a splash pad there for kids, a little room you could rent out for birthday parties and all that. You know, amenities galore here. Right next to Atascocita High School as well, which if you follow high school football, Atascocita High School is really well known in that world. I think they're ranked nationally, they're actually ranked. So really great area here. Shopping centers. The biggest shopping center is right up here, right here at 1960 and Westlake Houston Parkway. So you can see this whole area here. There's, I mean, Target, Lowe's, there's a Best Buy across the street. My wife actually, you know, I mentioned in the intro, she's a hairstylist. She works right here at this intersection. You know, there's bars, restaurants, Starbucks. I mean, everything you're gonna need is right here. H-E-B, the grocery store. I mean, this little hub is the main hub for this area, right? If you're up here on the north side of Humble, Atascocita. As you move down here, you know, coming off Beltway 8, there's another shopping center down here with the H-E-B, a few restaurants, and kind of all along this Westlake Houston Parkway, there's a ton of stores, restaurants, all kinds of stuff on this little road here. So coming down from Eagle Springs, as you can see this road here, Madera Run Parkway, this is probably one of the biggest and most noted new developments here in the area, which is called the Groves. And the Groves is beautiful. It really is. One thing I love, you know, and you'll hear it in the home tours as I talk about these homes. What the Groves did, which is really great, is they kept the feel of Houston and of this Humble, Atascocita area. And what I mean by that is the trees and the greenery that make this place so appealing, especially to me. I think it's awesome here. But a lot of times these developers will come in and they'll just like tear everything out, you know, down to dirt and then just slap a bunch of houses up, right? The Groves really were mindful of keeping those trees, of keeping kind of the character of the area. So really, really pretty development right there in the Groves. And then they also have, as you can see here, their own schools. So the Groves Elementary and Westlake Middle School are literally right here in the development. So super cool to have that so close by. Again, that area here is the Groves. So, you know, and even one thing to point out too, before I forget, what's also great about this area, you can see the airport is right here. So super convenient. You're talking, you know, depending on where you are in this area, you know, as I mentioned, I live up here in Kingwood. It takes me about 20 minutes to get, you know, through Kingwood down to the airport. If you're here off Will Clayton or 1960, it's a straight shot in there. You can be in the airport, like from Eagle Springs, you're probably there in 10 minutes. So really, really convenient, especially if you're moving from out of state. You know you're gonna have family coming out to visit often. Super convenient to be that close to the airport. And you know, you might be thinking, well, what about the noise? You don't hear any planes coming in. So the planes usually come around this way. You come over the lake and it's a straight shot in. This is a lot bigger than it looks on this map. So the planes don't really get down to landing height until you're about right here on 69 over this area here. So you see planes flying in the sky over this area, but cannot hear them. It's not a bother at all. And I like to point that out because being from LA, you know, I had friends that lived in like Lenox area, Hawthorne, down there by the airport, and anytime those planes were coming in to land, you could hear it and it was loud. You don't get that over here. So wanted to note that as well. You know, we talked about Eagle Springs, talked about the Groves, which is right here. Right next to the Groves is another big master plan community called Balmoral. And Balmoral is most famously known for its 2-acre lagoon that's right there on the property and beach. So it's sanded, it's a huge lagoon. You can kayak in there. They got a bunch of water sports and things you could do in that lagoon there. Really cool area right there at Balmoral. Again, right next to the Grove. So this whole area is pretty much new construction within the last 10 or so years. Even down here along Westlake Houston Parkway, this all is completely different even from when I moved here just, you know, almost 5 years ago now. So a lot of new development, a lot of new homes, master plan communities, really up and coming area here in Atascocita, Humble. So, you know, even Humble proper, so down here you'll have, this is kind of considered old Humble. So you have, obviously right here's the freeway, there's restaurants and things here. Like down here on Main Street, there's some cool little bars and restaurants. It kind of, you know, if you think of like an old historic town, that's what old Humble looks like. Really cool. We go down there a lot actually. It's really just kind of a fun area. There's a little bar there called, you know, if you're from here, you might know of it. It's called Green Oaks Tavern. It's actually the original prison that was here in Humble, you know, however long ago when they built it. It's just a little tiny building, but it's now a bar. They've converted it into a bar and they have live music there every single night of the week except for Monday, I believe. So really cool old like jazz, blues music, really cool spot right there. You know, other than that, another thing to note too is this 1960, this is my wife coming in. Hi. It's all right. She's just getting home from work right now. She had a short day, but you know, we're about to head out to the Woodlands and try to do some shopping for family pictures this weekend. But back to this, you know, this 1960 Farm to Market Road is actually being widened right now at this whole intersection. So as I mentioned, with all this development that's come through here in this area, they're trying to accommodate for that. So this is all being widened, and they're actually putting right here at this main intersection, as you know, I talked about this big shopping center here, which it does get pretty clogged up with traffic in this area. they're actually going to be putting an overpass right here as well, so that traffic going, you know, north, south isn't getting mixed up with traffic going east, west. So that'll be really, really great when all of that is complete, and really open this intersection up to get through traffic, kind of get traffic down some, because it does get bogged up right here. You know, again, so I think I'm trying to keep this pretty straightforward, and I think that's it. You know, as I mentioned, if you're looking in this Northeast Houston area and you're on HAR, you're on Zillow or whatever you use, and you see some homes have an Humble address, some homes have a Kingwood address, some homes say Houston, and it does get confusing, because then you're looking at a map and you're like, well, this says it's Atascocita. It gets confusing, but you know, I always like to tell people, when you're looking at these homes, make sure you pull up a map view and you can see exactly where it is. So, you know, again, going forward, as I mentioned, I already have a ton of content, ton of homes that I've filmed in this area. So if you're seeing those first, you know, reference this video. Obviously you're watching this video now, so that was kind of a dumb thing to say, but if you're watching this video, know that those are coming out if they aren't already out. So you can go look at those, see a lot of these homes that are for sale in the area, and kind of have a better idea of what your money can buy in this area in all kinds of different price ranges. So you know, with that, I'll end this map tour and we'll close it out with you know, thank you. And you know, again, thank you. I appreciate your time. Hopefully that I helped you out at least a little bit with this. You know, I try to do what I can, so I appreciate y'all. Subscribe, hit the bell though. If you're seeing this right now and my other this Humble series isn't out yet, as I mentioned, over these next couple of months, this is November, the beginning of November 2022, probably through the rest of November into December, this whole Humble series is going to be coming out. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. As my videos come out, that bell will just notify you of when my videos come out, and you can see this whole Humble area, what there is, what the price points are, what you can get at each price point. You know, new developments, new builds. A lot of these new builders have incentives that are going crazy right now because they're trying to move inventory, right, because the market kind of shifted. So, you know, reach out to me any way you want to. A lot of people have been reaching out to me on Instagram, which is super cool, because that means, you know, they saw my video, they went and looked me up, found me on Instagram and messaged me. That's awesome. My number is below as well. That's my direct line. You can email me below, slap a comment if you have any questions. You know, again, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate your time, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.